There's only one story in all of entertainment today, and that is the fact that WGA just went on strike. So here's what's going on. So things to address that is a show would need to hire writers for a specific amount of time no matter what. That'll avoid the gig economy thing. A lot of with the new shows that come out, they come out like 6, 8, maybe 10 episodes. A writer will write that out for a month or whatever, just give an example. And then the writer is done with the project and is separated from the show. That wasn't how it used to work. It used to be where the writers would work on the show while the show was filming, and it would be a multi-month project. Residuals need to change for streaming as well. This is something we've talked about on the podcast, that and AI. They need to be addressed, and ugly situations like this are what's going to force it to happen. But writers used to get paid whenever a show would air on network television. With streaming, it's a little different now, and they need to find a way for that to make sense. Currently, writers are getting paid 4 to 23% less than they did 10 years ago. And lastly, they want to put in some provisions that prevent AI from replacing them on sets. Currently, that doesn't seem very possible, as ChatGPT's text is very spottable. It's not great, but it's just going to get better every day. So they do know that there will be a time where that's going to be tempting. They just want to kind of set themselves up to survive that hit. How this is going to affect you is basically everything that takes a script will not be in production anymore. So late night television is done right now. All soap operas done. Every Marvel, Star Trek, Star Wars, everything, all that stops today. If this strike goes on for too long, it will delay stuff. Netflix, for example, says that they have scripts for the rest of this year, but 2024 is not written yet. Basically, if it's coming out this year, it's still coming out this year, but everything in the future can be delayed based off this strike. The last strike, which I remember very well, was in 2007, and it lasted for 100 days. And if you look at like 30 Rock is my best example of this, every season of 30 Rock has like 22, 23 episodes. Season 2 has 15. There's one episode where the entire thing is about a reality TV show. Specifically, matter of fact, last time we had a strike like this, reality TV skyrocketed. There were Can You Be a Pirate reality TV shows, or 15 different kinds of dating shows, because reality TV shows don't have scripts, so they're able to pump those out. Hopefully we don't go through that again. I mean, I'm a huge Survivor fan, but I don't need 50 Survivor clones, you know. So we'll let you know when there's something to this, but it sounds like the strike's going to be for a while because the other side just doesn't want to budge. They feel like they kind of have a good situation right now. It's hard for me to kind of explain everything that's going on with this in this form of a podcast. On the next Geek Freaks, there's a new one that came out today, but on the next one for next week, I'll go into full details of exactly what's going on here with the pay structure and stuff, and we'll discuss it all out. So check that out, guys. But yeah, there's a new Geek Freaks today, though. You should listen to that. That's always good. We finally have a release date for The Witcher Season 3. It's going to be released in 2 parts. The first part's coming June 29th, the second July 27th, so not too far from each other. This will be Henry Cavill's last turn on the show. After that, he'll be replaced by Liam Hemsworth, who will be playing Geralt. From what we've seen so far from the promotional images and the videos, this season's going to lean heavily on Yennefer and Ciri. Ciri's going to be learning a lot of her magic abilities. Yennefer knows them well. I'm wondering if they had enough time to film some sort of ending for Henry Cavill's character, possibly some reason that he's being recast. I don't know enough about the lore to understand if there's a reason for your face to change, but it would be nice if there happens to be one. We have some updates on How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version. Shazam and it's Jack Dylan Grazer, that's this kid here, will be playing Hiccup. He's the main character from the movies, the one that rides Toothless. It sounds like Ali Cravalho will be playing Astrid, and so far Joel Edgerton will be playing his father. This is all still kind of rumor level, but they're from Daniel Rickman, who's a pretty good source. The movie's being directed by Dean Du Bois, who did the animated version of the story, and is coming to theaters March 14th, 2025. Hey all, we have a lot to cover, so we're going to go rapid fire, but first off, CinemaCon is going on right now, and the reason I haven't been talking about it so far is everything is secondhand. Unfortunately, I didn't get my invite, but I'm going to add Straw Hat Goofy to like all the tags and stuff like that, so you guys can click and follow him. He's actually there right now and sharing some really good info, so follow him. I'll recap everything once the event is completely done. First bit of the news for the day is we have Black Mirror releasing now on June 2023. That's on Netflix. They released a small trailer that shows a star-studded cast, including this one, Jesse Pinkman, yes, Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. Tamura Morrison, who plays Boba Fett, said he was supposed to be part of The Mandalorian Season 3, but never got the call. He doesn't seem to be really bitter about it, was kind of mentioning it, but a lot of the fandoms have sparked up saying, hey, bring Boba Fett back. I definitely think he's coming back, and I would love to see him, Mando, Bo-Katan all taking on Thrawn. That's in the future. Now, turning over to gaming, we finally have a release date for Star Trek Resurgence. It's coming out May 23rd, 2023. This thing's been delayed a few times, but everybody's really excited. It's basically Star Trek meets Telltale Games. The UK just blocked Xbox's deal to acquire Activision Blizzard. It seemed like the CMA was cool with them doing this deal. They revised their initial complaint, but the new complaint is over cloud gaming, saying that the acquisition would actually slow down the progression of cloud gaming. They also stated some of the other more obvious concerns with competitiveness over first-party titles, but the cloud gaming is the sticking point for them. Microsoft gave them some reasons why it wouldn't be a problem, but they said it wasn't enough, and Microsoft also just stated today that they will be appealing this. This is a major blow in the acquisition. We'll see what Xbox can pull out of the hat. Good morning, everyone, and happy weekend. There was so much going on at CinemaCon, an event that I frankly did not know much about beforehand. But for now, I'm going to go over my favorite announcements that I was able to get from other people that did go. First up, we got a nice full trailer for The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I like the first Hunger Games. I read the books. I got to read this one still, but it's a prequel to the series. And it looks like they're taking kind of a BioShock feel to it. It's not quite our past, but it's almost this like steampunky past or maybe Fallout past. It's going to be following President Snow in his early career. Next, we got a little bit more information about the Avatar movie coming up next year. It's going to be following Team Avatar as adults. They're going to be in their 20s and 30s. And the team behind it are very excited about this project, feeling like it's really back to its roots. Ramsey Naoto, the one who announced the movie, says that this movie will blow you away. I'm already believing him. Paramount's going to release a prequel Transformers movie called Transformers 1. This is going to be animated, but it's voiced by a stellar cast, including Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Brian Tyree Henry, Keegan-Michael Key, John Hamm, Lawrence Fishburne. I mean, that's just kind of like an insane cast right there. Hey all, it's a pretty light news day. First off, Always Sunny in Philadelphia has its release date for season 16. It is going to be June 7th on Hulu and FXX. IDW, one of the big comic book companies out there, is doing some massive layoffs, about a third of their workforce. One of the things they mentioned is because Lock and Key did so well on Netflix, they kind of invested big, and now that that show's done, they're really struggling. One of the things they're trying to do to recoup some of their losses is to make more series based off their comic books. The big push right now, of course, TMNT. After the struggles pass, they're hoping to bring back some of these people that they laid off. And lastly, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is finally out today. It's on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. It'll be $69.99 for the base game, and there's an upgraded version for $89.99. This is a sequel to the 2018 masterpiece, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I've already got a lot of friends playing it and excited about it, and I'm just waiting for that Amazon truck at this point. I'm working on all that CinemaCon news, by the way. It'll be coming out over the weekend. We got a trailer for A Haunting in Venice. This is the next in that Agatha Christie series they've been doing with Poirot, and this thing just looks stunning. It's going to be a darker version of anything we've seen in the before out of this Poirot storyline. Something about this movie, its quality is just kind of out of this world, and it's got Michelle Yeoh on board, so I mean, like, that's going to be really good, of course. But this just really feels like it's uber polished. They showed off 20 minutes of Pixar's next movie, Elemental. First off, it's going to be following the friendship of Ember and Wade, two people that are on like opposite sides of this social dynamic. Obviously, one's fire-based, one's water-based. Their friendship causes Ember to question her beliefs about the world around them. So that sounds like something about like kind of a Romeo and Juliet meets don't judge everybody by their appearance, maybe. This might be more socially based than past Pixar films, which are pretty wide concepts about love or emotions or something like that. And the last bit is a lot of people got a chance to watch Flash, so we're getting some first reactions to that. They all seem to be overwhelmingly high. Some of the people that I follow that actually follow the DCEU are saying temper your expectations, but overall they seem to be pretty high. James Gunn just did an interview with Gizmodo and explains how J.J. Abrams' Superman is still on the table. Like many other DC projects, we assumed when Gunn took over that all those projects are scrapped. But same with The Batman, J.J. Abrams' Superman is still possible through the Elseworld side projects. This would be the Black-led Superman project, hopefully cast by Michael B. Jordan. Everybody's pretty hyped about that. I mean, the fan art out there is really cool. This movie would be written by Ta-Nehisi Coates and directed by J.J. Abrams. Already confirmed for the Elseworld is The Batman and Joker, alongside like the Penguin and everything that's going to HBO that's spun off from those. They are making a new cliffhanger movie. This is supposed to be a sequel, but it kind of feels like it might be a reboot. We just found out that Sylvester Stallone is coming back for it. He'll be returning to play Ranger Gabe Walker, which he played in the original movie. That movie was so 90s action. There might have been like 15 explosions for no reason on the middle of these mountains, which are a place you don't want to do explosions. By far the best thing about the original cliffhanger was the villain was played by John Lithgow. Now he won't be returning, but this is one of my favorite Stallone movies. I would argue it's better than some of the Rockies, and definitely better than Rambo. Stallone's having a little bit of a resurgence lately with his Tulsa series that's doing quite well, and his appearance on the Guardians of the Galaxy, making him part of the MCU. I'm happy to see Cliffhanger come back. Hulu's revival for King of the Hill is already underway. In an interview, Stephen Root, who plays Bill, says they're going to be doing some table reads this month. We've also learned that the show will be a 15-year time jump from the original version. That puts Hank and Peggy in their mid-50s and Bobby at 28 years old. No date yet on the release, but if it's doing the table reads now, expect early 2024. Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. Let's start off with Margot Robbie, rumored to be offered the role for Sue Storm. Now, this started off with Daniel Rickman, backed up by My Time to Shine Hello, both pretty good leakers. Now, if this casting is true and that Adam Driver casting for Reed Richards is true, my god, what a stacked cast this is. Kind of makes sense because Fantastic Four is the first family for Marvel, and with the Fantastic Four and X-Men coming up, it feels sort of like a relaunch of the MCU. What do you guys think about Margot Robbie possibly playing Sue Storm? Wizard of the Coast and Magic the Gathering are running into a lot of problems lately. So this all started when streamer Dan Cannon purchased a booster box of the upcoming March of the Machine Aftermath. Now, he thought he was just getting some of the March of the Machine booster boxes, which came out recently, as Aftermath has yet to be released. The reason he was able to pick up this box was because there was a mistake somewhere in the distribution process through Wizard of the Coast side of things. That kind of makes sense being that the names are so freaking close, which makes things so much worse with MTG's response. They hired the Pinkerton agency, which does not have a good history, to go to Cannon's house and basically threaten him with $250,000 fine and up to 10 years in prison if he doesn't return all the product. They even said that they would call the local sheriff and search his house every single card to make sure he doesn't have anything from the upcoming set. And he has over 1 million cards in his house. His livelihood is playing Magic the Gathering. We've only got one point of view so far on this story, through Canon, but we still need to hear from the Pinkertons, which is so weird to say that in the 21st century. We also need to hear from Wizards of the Coast. When we learn more, we'll let you know. Spoiler warning for Picard Season 3. Now, assuming that you've watched Picard Season 3, you know that it's fantastic. It added something new while leaning on something we already loved, and really felt like just more next-gen in a way. Since the show's been hopping off, a lot of the fans been wanting more, and Terry Matalas, the guy who wrote this season, has teased he's got an idea. He's wanting to bring in something called Star Trek Legacy, which will further the story beyond Picard. The new Enterprise, which was the Titan, is now being captained by Seven of Nine, and has a really cool crew that we now already know about. This would be Star Trek in the 25th century. Now, I love Strange New Worlds, don't get me wrong, but it has that prequelitis where you have to fit the story within another story and make sure the ending matches the beginning of another season. If Star Trek Legacy becomes a thing, they would have an open-ended story they could do whatever they want. The next show doesn't happen for another 500 years with Discovery jumping to the future. We have a rogue sector of the Borg to answer to. We've got Voyager and DS9 cast that really should be joining the show. They already talked to Tuvok in season 3 of Picard, but we have Neelix out there. We've got the Doctor, who should be ageless. Good luck with that. And they even mentioned Admiral Janeway, which is somebody I must see in live action. And not only are the fans clamoring for it, but so is the cast. Both new and old have said they're on board with this. Even Patrick Stewart, which likely due to his age would not be a main part of the show like he was for Picard, but he can make cameos. He could give advice to Seven of Nine. How cool would it be to see Picard and Admiral Janeway having lunch discussing how proud they are of Seven of Nine? I'm just so excited about that concept. Fans are putting out a bunch of fan art. I put some of it on our website, so go check that out. And even Alex Kurtzman, the guy who's in charge of all of Star Trek right now, says, look fans, we've heard you loud and clear. The whole thing right now is, and Terry mentioned this as well, the shows are very expensive to do. That's why they can only do so many of them. Right now it's working on Strange New World and something called Star Trek Academy, which is going to be sort of their CWS high school drama thing. Look, we've got to have something for everybody. If it makes new Star Trek fans, I'm fine with that. Alex Kurtzman did say, I heard you loud and clear. So while I don't think we're going to get anything maybe in the next year or two, I have a feeling he is actually working on something now, with Seven of Nine as the captain of the new Enterprise. Whew, that just sounds cool.